day. How you doing? Hope you had a wonderful week. This week's session will be looking at how to prepare a complete program of work using Microsoft Project. Program of work in the sense that program of work is a tool that helps in time management part of quality surveying. As a quality surveyor, you have to understand the element of preparing program of work. As well, I'll be putting you through into the session how to prepare a complete program of work. Let's get into it.
The program of work for a proposed residential building. Sure you get. So now just the task name here, this first part, just input proposed. You can just make it all caps. Sorry. Then type it in caps lock proposed residential building. So that's that. So for proposed residential building, we have our pre-contract stage. That's pre-contract. Under pre-contract, we have preparation of drawing. And make this sentence case: preparation of drawings, preparation of bill of quantities, bill of quantities, preparation of contract documents. Let's say if there's going to be a tender. Tender evaluation, invitation to tender, then tender evaluation, then the tender evaluation, then selection of tender. So after we selected our tender, we have our contractor down to go into the work. We have our contract stage. Make this all caps. So our contract stage here, we have preliminary works. We'll do our site clearance first. Site clearance, then preliminary works. Because imagine the whole site is filled with bushes and everything. I want to do our preliminary works. So we can do our preliminary works when on the bushy site. So we have to clear the site first, then do our necessary preliminary works, which is like temporary fence, temporary lighting, temporary office, and the likes. After done our preliminary works, we do our topsoil removal. So after we've done our topsoil removal, then we'll do our trench excavation, then our column base excavation, then after we've done our column base excavation, then we do our concrete and foundation, earthwork support, after earthwork support, leveling and compacting, after leveling and compacting, we do our surface treatment, then my surface treatment. Then after we are done with surface treatment, we'll do our concrete blinding, then after doing our concrete blinding, we'll do our reinforcement in column base, After that, reinforcement in column base. These are concrete. These are concrete foundation, concrete in column base. Then after that, do a reinforcement to column starter. Column starter. Then we'll do our next part, which is reinforcement and formwork to column starter. Then after we've done that, we'll do our next item of work, which is concrete and column starter. Then we'll move to the next stage, which is the block working foundation. Then after we've done our block working foundation, we can now do our laterite filling. Then add core filling. Then the DPM as the approved membrane. Then we have the BRC mesh. Then the blinding to overside concrete. Then after done blend to overside concrete, formwork to edges. Of overside concrete. Then overside concrete. Done. Okay, just a simple bungalow building. Once you've picked all of this, okay, from 2 downwards, as here, I didn't know. See this left indent here, this here, just click. That shows everything is under this title here. Now everything under pre-contract, all of this, just click. So that means all of this under pre-contract. So you can see. Then under the contract stage, all the site clearance and the likes, till substructure. Okay, I can always insert here. Let me just do this. On this insert tags, I can name this substructure or curves. Okay, so for substructure, the all other contract stage, just bring all this down to handing over. Then boom. Now for substructure, now every activity that is under substructure, that's from the site clearance to the overside concrete indent also. Boom. Then for superstructure also, from reinforcement to ground floor column to handing over. Boom. Now this is how it is. You have the pre-contract stage, you have the contract stage. Now the contract stage, you see how everything looks. different this time around. Like contrast stage, you have the substructure and superstructure. Sure, you've seen this. So the activities under it. When pre-contrast stage, you have the activities under it. Sure, you've seen. This will help you have a more detailed and reasonable work. Make sure all of this is auto scheduled. So you get, as I'm saying, you should make sure everything is all auto scheduled, so your work will be more matured. Now once you are done, say all these dates, all these days in black, yeah, leave them the way they are. Just leave them, all the ones in the black here, leave them the way they are. You don't have to bother about making adjustments. You want to zoom in, zoom out, do this, that. No, just leave this, all this duration in black. With bold durations, leave them the way they are. Don't touch them. The bold durations, leave them the way they are. Now let's give allocate durations to our project. Allocation of durations is usually based on experience or work study, previous work study you've done. Usually based on the previous work study you've done or your experience. Those are how you allocate duration. Now, work study in the sense that I want us to take note of this. For example, during a this thing project, you are opportunity to be the QS on the project, and you are to supervise the site and the likes. So you can just go to site in the morning, take note of the activity that is to be done that day, and the number of labor. Let's say for block work example, for example, the total numbers of workers that are working on site for that day on block work. Let's say they are 5 or 10 workers. You have 10 workers, and you want to know what they'll cover for that day. You came to say, no, okay, these 10 people will be working today for block work. So at the end of the day, once they are done, you can now go back to measure the entire work that was done by those 5 people, and the number of, let's say they worked from 8 to 4 or 8 to 5, that's 8 hours. Then you now go back after you know that they work for 8 hours. You now go measure the work they did in 8 hours. Let's say they covered 50 meters square of block work. That means 5 people covered 50 meters square. That means we divide it. That means 10 people will cover, and one person will cover 10 meters square. So we are going to do a project of 50 meters square. I want to know the number of days. You know, if one person is covering 10 meters square in 8 hours, 10 meters square, one person is covering 10 meters square in 8 hours. I hope you understand. You know, the laying and everything, all the laying, mixing and everything took one person 10 hours. Cover and 10 meters square will be covered by one person in 8 hours. Now if you have a project of like maybe 300 meters square of block work, all you just do is, okay, if one person is covering this in 8 hours, that one person, you divide that 10 by 300, that means you're having 30 hours. Like now you have the first, which is one person is covering 10 meters square. So for 300 meters square, how long will it take? That's 8 hours is for 10 meters square for one person. So that will be 8 times 300 divided by 10. You can just pick your calculator and do that. Let's quickly do that. Where's my calculator? Okay, found you. So that will be 300 hours times 300 meters square times 8 divided by 10. So to take one person 240 hours. So you get 240 hours to prepare 300 meters square. That's divided by 8. That will be 30 days for 300 meters square, which is not reasonable. So you can increase the number of laborers. That means we are having 2 people on site. That means 2 people will cover 20. You're having 4 people on site. So you get, so you increase the number of laborers to reduce the time duration. So you get, so that's how you can do that work. So you can do it on average. You can do it for like 3 different projects. So you get an average duration of each project. So you can just do that at your own leisure. Also, people that want to know more on that, you can just always alarm me up and I'll explain better to you on that. So let's say for operation of drawing, we are using, let's say 6 days, and let's say 8 days is a pre-cultural stage, or 15 days. Let's do architect time. Then bill of quantities, we are doing bill of quantities at, let's say 5 days. Prepare bill of quantities, contract document and the like. Let's use 5 days. Invitation to tender 1 day. Tender evaluation 2 days. Selection of tender 1 day. We're done with that. Now for contract stage, site clearance. Let's say the big site and the likes, I use 2 days. Preliminary works, let's say we use 4 days or 5 days. Topsoil 1 day. Trench excavation 2 days. While you are doing trench excavation, you are doing your column base too. So just put 2 days. Network support, let's say 2 days. Leveling and compacting 1 day. Surface treatment 1 day. Concrete blinding 1 day. Reinforcement to column base, work faster, blah blah blah. Don't show me this again. Then work up. Allow you to work at your own pace. Because I'm repeating the same number of days, so it's like telling me I just do it across board, which is not like that. Now reinforcement in column base, let's say I'll use 2 days for reinforcement. Concrete work is always 1 day. Concrete works are always the same day. Reinforcement 2 days. Form work 2 days. Column starter concrete 1 day. Block work in foundation, let's say I'm going to use like 3 days. Laterite filling 2 days. Hardcore 2 days. BPM 1 day, not even up to. BRC mesh 1 day also. Blinding 1 day. Form work 1 day. Then oversight concrete 1 day. I don't have substructure. And let's move to superstructure. Reinforcement in columns, let's say we are using 3 days. Block work, laying of blocks and the likes, this we are using like, let's say 15 days. Then lintel, you know, under this lintel we have concrete reinforcement. Okay, let me just do the breakdown 1 2 3. Insert. So for this lintel we have formwork. So formwork. Then we have our reinforcement. Then we have our concrete. So you can see this. So just put this theory here. Indent. So they're all on that lintel. So formwork I used to depends on the number of, let's say I'm using 3 days. Windows are much and the likes. I use 3 days. The concrete casting 1 day. They're all under lintel here. Sure you've seen it. Then formwork to ground floor columns. Let's say I use 2 days. Then what of the concrete? I did not include the concrete, so insert stacks. Then the concrete. Concrete in ground floor columns. Concrete in ground floor columns. I'll be using 1 day. Then we've done the reinforcement concrete work. Then roof members, I use 3 days. Roof covering 2 days. It's a big roof. Installation of windows and doors 3 days. Plastering 3 or 4 days. Let's say we want to make them. No, the shorter the duration, the more the laborers, and the more the laborers, the more the rate. You get the implication. The shorter the duration, the more the laborers on site. The more the laborers on site, the higher the rate. That is just the beauty of it. Material may stay the same, but labor cost will increase. So just consider that when you are building your rates. That's say this is not just about throwing rates at projects or throwing rates at works or the likes. It's about you considering all of this. Even after paying your bill, consider all these features before you make any final decision. Sure you understand? Okay. So for floor finish, let's say we use 6 or 7, let's be 8 days. Tiling and the like, ceiling finish 3 days, or it's 4 days also. Wall painting, and put your wall in 3-4 days. Floor tiles, let's use 6 days. Making wood of shanks, let's use 5 days. Anything over 1 day. Alright, done. See, currently what it's doing is it's picking the longest duration on the project, which is 15 days. That's for preparation of architectural design. You get, and this is also picking the longest duration, which is block work. You're seeing everything at a single day, but no problem. Now let's get to work. Now we're going to make sure all these activities are connected one after the other and they are in stages. Now preparation of drawing is at pre-contrast stage. That's the first thing you do. The first thing you do is preparation of, after you prepare your drawing, prepare your bill of quantity. After the predecessor, this is predecessor's column. Predecessor shows tasks that are coming after each other. That after one task ends, which activity will begin? After one activity ends, which activity will begin? So the process of arranging your tasks is this predecessor stage. So after we're gonna prepare, we can't prepare our bill of quantity without preparing our joins. So until we finish preparing joins before we prepare bill of quantities. That's theory. This is the number here. This theory is what you put here. See the tax that's jumped out. Okay, after this one has ended, we start this one. Then preparation of contract documents. After you can prepare your contract documents, because inside the contract document we have the final sum and everything based on this bill of quantity. So that will be 4. Invitation to tender. After you've done the contract documents, you now the invitation to tender, that's 5. Then after 5, tender evaluation, that's 6. Selection of tender. After you've done tender evaluation, not just selection of tender, that's 7. So we are done with everything at the contract stage. You see the chart. Chart is now looking. So you can see this. Compared to everything being straight and flat lined, it is now looking more reasonable. Okay, now let's come to site clearance. After we've done this, like we've selected our tender and everything, that's after activity 8. Ignore this 2 here. That will be after activity 8 here. That's the last activity. That's 8. They will now do our preliminary works. That's after you cleared your site, you now do your preliminary works. That's 11. Then remove your topsoil after your preliminary works. That's 13. Oh, sorry, that's 12 rather, not 13. Trench excavation will be done next after you move topsoil. That will be 13. Now, while you are doing your trench excavation, you can also do your column-based excavation at the same time. So that will be, these two will have 13 as their predecessor. After you are done with topsoil removal, you can do your trench and basic column excavation at the same time. So you get within the same duration. After we are done with these two, now that network support, that's after 14, 15. After we are done with activity 14 and 15, then we can start our network support. So these two activities, after we are done with these two, we now do our network support. Then after we have done network support, we now do our leveling and compacting. After activity 16. So we're having a more visual look at our chart now. Then after that, we do our surface treatment until after 17. Then we do our concrete blinding after surface treatment 18. Then we do our reinforcement in column base, that's 19. Then we do our concrete in foundation and concrete in column base. You can do them the same day. So that will be after activity 20 and concrete in column base 20. So we are doing them the same day. Sure, you understand. Then we do our reinforcement in column starter. That's after 21 and 22. 21, 22. See, the two activities are branching into this. Then we do our reinforcement in column starter. I hope you all are following this. Reinforcement in column starter. After I've done that, we do our formwork column starter. That's after activity 23. Then concrete work will be done after the formwork. That's after 24. Then block work in foundation will be done after you've done your concrete column starter. That's after 25. Then 26, lateral filling. Then 27, hardcore filling. Then DPM, wire mesh. You can do them the same day. So just bring them 28. Because you can do both of them in the same day. Quickly just lay your DPM and quickly lay your mesh. They'll do a blending after these two activities. That's 29, 30. Then do a formwork to overside concrete. After your blending, that's 31. Then 32. We see the process. Now we're having 34 days for substructure. Okay, now we have our complete program of work. This project will be done in 116 days. That's 4 months. In 4 months, we are done, including all the pre-contract, contract, and everything. In 4 months, we are done with our building, standard building, a bungalow building, standard bungalow building. In 4 months, 116 days. This is our chart. As simple as that can be.
If you have found this video very informative and you understand how to prepare a time forecast and prepare Gantt chart, simply like this video and kindly subscribe to this channel because I'll post more videos like this every week.